Hi, it's Coach Hughley. I'm back here for Coach's Corner of 2026, our first episode. I know it's been a while, but we're in store for a good one because we got a lot to cover. We want to cover, our mindset in this organization. 1, 2, a lot of things that's, I'm seeing now being in my second year of travel basketball, internally and externally. And 3, just to sit here and talk about what it takes to be, a winner, what it takes to be good, what it takes to get to the next level, what it takes just to be a real solid, founded student athlete. And this is what we expect in our organization. This is what we want. And we're not going to be ever lower our standards for anything less. Back to this first coaching episode, I've been at it for a couple episodes now. This is marked, I believe, our 17th or 18th month, call it year 2. I'm struggling internally as a former player and coach to see what's happening to the game, but I also got to know that I got to adjust to it. I think people are misguided about rankings. I think people are misguided about, first, second, third, fifth, sixth, seventh, grade basketball. And that's why I came back for this exact reason. I think there needs to be a more focus on development, and not just on the basketball court, but off the basketball court. Teaching kids how to be respectful, teaching kids how to communicate with their peers, how to communicate with adults, how to communicate with their teachers, how to communicate with people on other, teams and parents. I think a lot of that is pushed to the side and brought on the court just to win basketball games. And that's not life. That's not how the game I was taught by really great coaches in the past. And one thing, that's why I think, you see, a month or a half ago, I got my jersey retired. And that wasn't nothing that I did. It was all the principles of the people, the great people in my life, guiding me down a path and a process and a journey. And that process and journey got me to be who I was at that level and beyond. And that's exactly the same thing I want for my son and for your son. And I think, we need, as parents, coaches, to hone in on that more, not just to win, how to win, how to prepare to win, how to come back from losses, how to be a good teammate. Even if you're the best player on the team, you can be an even better teammate. Just by, your position on the team can enhance everyone and go further. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that in this world, to go far in the world, you need good people around you and you need help. You can't do it by yourself. And that's the mindset that we bring to every day we bring to practice. If your teammate make a layup, did you say good job? Did you give him a high five? If your teammate fall to the ground, did you sprint to pick him up? Maybe you're on the bench. It's not your game. You're not playing well. Are you being a good teammate, sitting on the bench, cheering your team? Because it may be your time today. It may not be your time the next game. But all of it collectively builds team chemistry, team camaraderie, and, a culture. That's part of being a culture, because we're trying to build culture. And I hear all the time, well, these kids are in 3rd and 4th grade. Why not learn it now? Why not learn it now? Why not put your son and daughter in the best situation, just not because of basketball, because of life, getting them to the next level? Or maybe, again, I say 2 things in life. I tell my son, you're either gonna work for somebody and somebody's gonna work for you. What do you want from your employee, and what do you want to showcase as a boss? What type of culture you want to build, what type of business you want to build. You're going to have success, you're going to have failure. It's how do you respond to either one of those? How do you sustain success, and how do you recover from failure? That's the exact same thing we're teaching in this game of basketball here at Hughley Elite. And now I can't speak for other organizations. I see a lot out there, but again, I'm focused on the people I have in my box and trying to be able to sustain that forward progress. And that's what it's all about. To add, let's talk about culture. Let's talk about what it takes to play here, because I get a lot of calls. I get a lot of calls for training. I get a lot of calls just for, advice. And like I told the parent today, your son doesn't have to play for me to help him. They live in Jupiter and they want to play here, but I get it's a far drive. And that's another thing I think has gone sour, is the guidance of a coach or a parent or a teacher. I remember I used to be able to go to, in 6th grade, I used to be able to go to my 8th grade social studies teacher and ask questions about, what do I have to do to get better and learn? And he didn't turn me away because I wasn't in his class. He sat me down, he talked to me, he taught me. And again, that's what I think we're missing. You should be able to call any coach in any organization, ask for advice, whether you play for them or not. And that's what I welcome. I know everyone can't play for me and won't play for me. But I also, if I can help your son or daughter, I want to. And I think that's a misconception of coaches these days, because it's all about like, if you only can get help if you're in my organization. But we're coaches, we're teachers, we're life mentors. And I think that's part of what I'm trying to help the culture and help the brand, to help people that aren't getting the answers where they are at. That's why people team hop everywhere, every other season, every other month, because they're not getting exactly what they need. What is the complete package? It's not just about winning. It's not just about you're just losing. It's about, are you developing mentally, physically, emotionally as an individual and as a player? And that's what, we need to focus more as coaches, as parents, as teachers, as people that guide this youth forward in life. To play here, I think people should have this at every organization. It's a contract. We have every player to sign one of these. Not just because we're trying to do something different, because this is life. You get a job today, what do you have to do? Sign an employee agreement. You buy a house, what do? You sign a contract with the bank. Same thing, you lease a car, it's a contract. It's the same thing in basketball. If your son or daughter, go to college, they're signing a contract. It's the same thing that we try to just put them on the right path to prepare them for the next level, whatever it could be, on and off the court. And it's simple, we base it on like 12 simple principles here. The first principle is, obviously, we want student athletes, is be committed to your academics. You have to be committed to your academics, because you know why? I believe who you are in the classroom is who you are on the court. If you might not be the smartest player or the smartest student, but if you're trying and working hard to take a C to a B, I want that type of player. But I don't want a player that accepts a D or an F without trying to get a C, or a player that think they're A and they're smarter than everybody else in the classroom or the team. The second thing, committed to having class. And that's treat your teachers, trainers, support staff, anyone, the janitor, the waiter, with respect. You have to have that. Your teammate, you have to have that to play here. Committed to do the right thing, even if it's not what you want to do. If you know you're supposed to box out, box out. If you know you're supposed to do your homework on Monday, don't wait till Wednesday to do it. Do your homework on Monday. Don't make those excuses, and be committed to the program, whatever that is. If you know you're supposed to show up with your jersey, show up with your jersey. If you know you're supposed to, call your teammates to make sure you get a ride, don't wait on your parents. You take the initiative and be responsible. That's part of being committed to the program. To play here, you gotta be committed to hard work. We work hard every time we step on this court, wherever it is. Practice, shoot around, film. You gotta be committed to hard work. Be committed to becoming a smart basketball player. You gotta understand and retain. And I always say, if you're not capable, if you can't, just raise your hand. It's my job and the coaching staff, and your teammates' job that know what they're doing to bring you along. We're never going to leave anyone back that want to come forward, that want to move forward. Committed to our team attitude concept. It's always about the team. It's never about you. And commit yourself to a winning attitude. We're building, in year 2. There's some bumps along the road, and I'm trying to teach my kids how to be committed to winning. even in the loss. What didn't we do to put in a loss? What didn't we do to put ourselves in a position to be successful, to sustain the winning attitude? Maybe we turned the ball over 25 times. Why did we turn it over? We have to understand that's a winning attitude. Getting to the why. Why are we not having the success? And why are we having success? How to sustain it and how to limit the non-success and the failures. And that's a winning attitude. And the last thing to win here, I believe you gotta believe in our system. We run a system, a college level system and beyond. Believe in yourself. You can't believe in anyone else if you don't believe in yourself. So you have to believe in yourself. That comes from working hard and doing your job every single day. Believe in your teammates. It's a winning attitude here. We're one unit. We're one family. You have to be able to believe in your teammates even when they're struggling. Even when they're struggling. That's a great teammate that I want in this organization. Is, we know my teammate's struggling today, but I also believe in him. Or he missed 7 free throws in a row in practice. I call him up to make the free throw to end practice. The teammates believe that he's gonna make the 8th. That's what we need here, and that's what we want here. And the last thing, believe in your coaches. I believe, myself, my coaching staff, we bring it every day. We have everything that we need to build the right organization. And you have to believe in all this concept. You have to believe in your coaching staff, knowing that we're going to prepare you and put you in the best possible position, just like your parents do in life, just like your teachers do. We want you to be successful, and you gotta want to be successful. And again, that's a simple contract that we have everybody sign, and that's what we want, in this organization. Because a lot of questions out there like, who is Hughley Elite? This is who we are, this is what we're about, and this is what we want.